Hey everybody, welcome back. It's your boy DC Gunner, and today I have another video request by a viewer. So I'm gonna do a video on how to polish watch crystals, but I'm not gonna do how to polish because I'm gonna do how I polish. First of all, I do not consider myself an expert in the field. I do polish my own watches, but I do not enjoy it, so I'm just gonna show you and give you a little bit more information on how I do it. But before all that, if you are newbie to watches and you have a scratched up watch, let me just introduce you to the three basic watch type of watch crystals. And watch crystal is the glass on a watch you get. So let me start off from here. This is old vintage watch, and it usually comes with the plastic crystal. Omega's crystal, plastic crystal, is called Hazellite, and you will know it's plastic if you knock with your nail on it. There's pretty distinct sound of a plastic crystal, so you will know it's a plastic one. And there are other tests to determine, but for me it's just a little knock, it's enough to know. And you will usually find this on the vintage watches, so, and it's usually doomed, but it doesn't have to be. And this is the type of watch crystal I polish. So this is polishable, and you will focus mainly on this one. If you have this watch, and this is a Seiko. Seiko uses mineral crystal, but the Seiko company has its own brand of mineral crystal called Hardlex, and it's basically a badass mineral crystal which is specially hardened in some kind of treatment, so it's even more harder than regular mineral crystals you will find on fashion watches. So this is scratchable, and I mentioned this is very easy to get scratches on and off this watch. This is a bit harder to scratch, but it's also impossible to almost impossible to remove scratches from, so it is better idea to just replace the crystal. But there is a way. If you stick around and long enough in the video, I will tell you about that. And the other common crystal is sapphire crystal, and this is the hardest crystal to scratch. It's basically scratch resistant crystal, and it's used in many expensive watches. And if you get a watch with sapphire crystal, you will get a watch that it will be almost impossible to scratch during the day-to-day activities you do with the sapphire crystal. It is, however, possible to scratch almost anything, so hard abuse you will get it scratched, and it's basically impossible to polish it. So first of all, I'm gonna tell you how I polish these kind of watches, and I'm gonna give you my experiences. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not an expert on polishing watch crystals, so I'm doing this for the sake of a viewer, and I'm honoring the viewer's request. And I also, because I'm not an expert, I want you to give me, if you have experiences with the polishing watch crystals, please write in the comment sections of this video. Give me your experiences with polishing watch crystals, so we can make this video a resource for any future people who want to learn more about it. And I wanna just get this out of the way because these watches with sapphire mineral crystal, especially Seiko Hardlex, is almost impossible to polish out with the normal stuff I'm gonna show you. I polish plastic watches, but I do not have experience with it, but I do know that there is a diamond paste and diamond powder available, and people had great results polishing mineral crystals and even sapphire crystals. Again, I'm telling you, I haven't done it, even though pretty much whenever I had bad luck with Seiko hard legs. It's almost impossible to polish it out with sandpaper, which I use. You can remove the scratches, but it will remain blurry and cloudy crystal, and you just won't like it. There is a diamond paste and diamond powder, and there are lots of guys out there on the interwebs saying how they successfully removed scratches from mineral crystal and from sapphire crystal with that diamond paste, which should basically be even more harder than these crystals. And you can get it on eBay. There's the diamond powder which you use with water to create a paste, and there's a ready-made diamond paste. It's not quite expensive, and I will try to find the links and put in the description of this video so you can check it out. But I haven't successfully polished either sapphire crystal nor mineral crystal, so I won't talk about it. I might buy that diamond paste because I'm quite curious, but right now I do not have any mineral or sapphire crystals scratched, so Seiko can be issue, and if I ever scratch my Orient Mako, which is also mineral crystal, I will probably get a diamond paste and show you the results. But right now I'm gonna tell you about plastic watch crystals and some other. It's not just vintage watches. These are the easiest to scratch, and these are the easiest to polish out. Basically I need around 15 minutes of dedicated polishing for this kind of crystal plastic to remove. But I must tell you, I had Casio watches which I have been able to successfully polish, and those watches were advertised as a mineral crystal, and when I went to the watchmaker, he basically told me it's a mineral crystal, you cannot polish it, so you have to switch the entire crystal. And it was, I believe it was a Casio beside model, and it's quite new model, had a dome crystal and had a quite deep scratches. So I was able to polish it with this method. I'm gonna show you, and I basically use sandpaper. So I basically use to polish these plastic crystals and so-called mineral crystals with the sandpaper, with the higher grits. I start with, depends on how deep scratches are, but sometimes you can start with the 800 grit or even 500 grit, and when you see, I even started with some 500 grits, and it's a water sandpaper. It says here silicon carbide. So start with the, depend if you are having hard scratches, start with this 500, then move your way up to 800 and to 1000 and to 2000 grit sandpaper. So basically you can see these are all dirty and used, and I use them a lot. I know I'm just gonna get this also out of the way from Casio talk. I use this on the vintage watches to successfully polished, but also I use it on the Casios, various Casios which are mineral crystals, but and they're claimed to advertise as mineral crystal, but they're not as hard as Seiko's hard wax. So if you have a scratched up Seiko, don't bother with this. You won't be able, and the best result's gonna be cloudy feel. So I was able to polish out Casio beside with a very deep scratches, and it was like a brand new crystal when I was done with it. Also, I managed to polish one of the vintage Seikos. I guess it was before they introduced hard wax crystal. So if you have really old Seiko, I believe it's 6119 movement. It's automatic Seiko 5. So it's beautiful blue watch, but the crystal was horrible, and I knew I'm gonna replace it. I'm gonna need to replace it, so I give it a shot, and I was very surprised how easy was it to polish it out, because it was not modern Seiko hard wax. So I'm gonna give you something to look at as well. It wasn't Seiko hard wax modern crystal, so I was able to polish it out. Also, I've been able to polish some Esprit watches. They also claim to have a mineral crystal, so I believe, don't take my word for it, but I did on some watches. But if you have Seiko hard wax, leave it out, or order diamond paste. So I'm gonna give you a rundown how I do it on this plastic watch. I'm not gonna use this. I'm not gonna polish a watch especially for the video, because I hate polishing. It's not my favorite thing to do, and this is just like brand new crystal. But I'm gonna give you the moves. So depends on how deep scratches are, put a rougher crystal. And I also, one thing to note is, if you don't know, take the watch to an expert. If it's you have expensive watch, don't do it. Pay the polishing if you want. And if you have a cheaper watch and you just want to give it a try, or if you want to do this as a project, have fun, I recommend removing the movement, especially if you have a mechanical watch. Remove the movement outside of the watch. So the way you're gonna remove the movement is gonna open the case, remove the crown, and take the whole movement out, and then go for polishing. That way you're not gonna damage the internals of the watch, because it's gonna be some heavy involvement. I did polish some Seiko 5 movements with 709 and 7S26 without taking the movement out, and they took a beating. And there's a lot of things, and you're gonna imagine that this is a watch, and you just go, when you take out the movement, if you don't know how to take out the movement and crown from the watch, Google it, and there are informations. So you're gonna place the watch face down without the movement, and you're just gonna make straight lines up and down. I found that circling and stuff does not work for me, and the fastest way to remove the slide, you can see here, and I just did this in lines and monitor the progress, and then this. And when you remove the scratches, then you can move on the higher grid on 2000, and then do this again. And if you are not satisfied, you can, with the 2000 sandpaper, you can finish the watch, and it can be glossy as new crystal. But sometimes I'm just not too enthusiastic like I used to about polishing crystals, because I had my fair share of troubles. I use toothpaste, so you're gonna put I put a small amount of toothpaste on a crystal, and I use my finger. Sometimes I'm gonna use some kind of a cloth, but I like finger because I know gives me more control and gives me more feel. So I use finger and I just do this and with a bit of a polishing with a toothpaste until I'm happy, and it can give you quite a nice result. And you don't want to apply too much pressure if you have removed all the scratches, because it will be more cloudy. So just a light pressure and it will be glossy. I even heard some people successfully remove the scratches with the toothpaste, but these are some homemade things you can do. There's also some products. I use also these little nail buffers as well for bracelets, and you can polish bracelets, stainless steel, anything stainless steel with this as well, and some sandpaper. And there are also some products. If you this is just how I do it. There's a thing called polywatch, and it's very, very good for polishing these kind of crystals, because it's one is cheap and supposedly very efficient. I haven't bought polywatch because I cannot buy it where locally. I need to order it online, and when I ordered it, I had to wait at least 10 days for me to get it, and those 10 days I cannot live with a scratched up watch. So I have my own methods, but I understand that the polywatch is a great method for removing this. There's also a diamond paste for these watches. And one thing I haven't tried really, but I'm aware of its existence, is there are screen protectors, just like for the phones, those little slip it protectors to protect your screen. And there are guys who are buying the screen protectors for your watch, and they just glue it to the crystal, and supposedly it's not visible, you cannot see it, it has no peel. So if you are worried about scratching your watch, I consider getting that. These are all very cheap stuff. Personally, I won't be buying screen protectors, because if I scratch a watch, it's not a big deal for me, but I look after my watches, and if I'm gonna be somewhere where it's gonna be scratched, will take my beater watch or some Casio or stuff like that. So also I have this set of Oriflame nail files. They're very used. There was like 1, 2, 3, 4 stuffs, so I use it. And one thing, if you have something like a Swiss Army knife logo here, you can remove it as well and polish it out of that. So this ended up to be like quite long and boring video, but you can watch it while you polishing stuff. So I don't know what to say else. I hope this answers your interest, because this was a viewer request from Nuno MPT. And thank you for watching. Thank you for polishing. I know you're a bit disappointed for me not scratching up the watch and repolishing again, but I just won't do it. And you scratch up your watches and polish it again. I just don't want to do it. But these are just my experiences, like I said before, and it would be really nice and handy for you to share your experiences with polishing watches in this video comment section, so we can make this little source for everyone who's trying to get some answers. And there's lots of sources online, on forums, on sites, and if you have expensive watch, take it to the professionals. It's worth it, trust me.